Welcome to News in Alberta. This is Special Ed. Today we're looking at a police officer that punched a handcuffed woman several times in the face.
A Brooklyn officer who was in charge of reviewing use of force cases is fired for using excessive force. And this is not the first time the officer has been in the news. Last year, he was accused of hitting a man with his truck and later assaulting that driver. Now he's been fired for allegedly punching a woman multiple times in the face while her hands were cuffed behind her back. 19 investigator Mike Mason has a story you will see only on 19 News.
After 18 years with the Brooklyn Police Department, a sergeant with a six-figure salary has now been terminated. Last fall, Brooklyn's mayor fired Sergeant Paul Stein for an incident that happened on September 4th. An internal investigation found he struck a woman 5 times in the face while her hands were cuffed behind her back. Stein's been in the news before. 19 Investigates broke the story about an incident that occurred on April 30th. Juan Wyckoff was driving an I-90, and he says Stein's truck hit his car, then sped off at more than 100 miles an hour.
He literally just tried to run me off the highway and kept going.
At the time, Wyckoff didn't know Stein was an off-duty cop on his way to work. Wyckoff grabbed his cell phone and he followed the truck and recorded it driving erratically. When the two arrived at the police station, Wyckoff followed Stein to the employee entrance. That's when surveillance video captured the officer aggressively pushing Wyckoff away and kicking his leg.
Or when it's assault on camera, not a crime. It makes no sense, because if I would have defended myself, I wouldn't have been able to talk to nobody.
You think you'd be behind bars?
If not worse.
Wyckoff wanted to press charges, but after police investigated, Stein only received a traffic citation and a written reprimand.
So this cop should have been fired at that time, and he should have had charges on him for assault. He hit this guy. It's a hit and run. He's driving erratically. He pushes and kicks this guy, and he gets a traffic violation.
That all changed this past September when police arrested a woman on an outstanding warrant for aggravated menacing. The report states she was intoxicated, acting uncooperative and belligerent, so officers cuffed her hands behind her back and decided to place her in a restraint chair. The report says Stein stepped on her feet to stop her from kicking. She said his boots were hurting her, so she told him to get off. When he didn't, the woman spat directly into his face. The report says Stein slapped her left cheek with an open hand, then he punched her left jaw 3 times. When another officer grabbed his right arm, Stein switched hands and struck her with his left fist. The chief wrote, "I believe this incident rises to the level of malfeasance, intentional conduct that is wrong or unlawful." He called the punches excessive and egregious. During Stein's pre-disciplinary hearing, he prepared a statement saying, "My objective was not to harm the subject, but to stop her from spitting at me again." He said, "I believe that the force I used was reasonable."
So this cop, this stupid cop, thinks it's reasonable to punch a handcuffed woman many times in the face.
Stein claimed the strikes were not delivered with a high degree of force and the suspect wasn't harmed. But reports show the woman did have lacerations to her lip and bruising to her jawline. Officers took photos to document her injuries, but we can't show you who she is since she's now considered an assault victim. At the end of his statement, Stein jotted down these handwritten notes. They read, "Undergoing counseling, on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and under pressure since the traffic incident." Stein was terminated on September 17th. Stein was one of 3 officers at the department in charge of reviewing use of force incidents. We reached out to him for his side of the story, but we haven't heard back. The city has turned this over to a special prosecutor to review for possible charges. At this point, he hasn't filed any, but we'll, of course, keep you posted if he does. Mike Mason, 19 News.
Now, I couldn't find anything that charges were ever laid on this cop. Probably not. Just didn't lay charges the first time he assaulted and hit and run. They probably won't press charges this time because it's already the new year. This happened in September, so no charges were laid yet. What do you think of this? What do you think this cop deserves? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. These are two other books made with my essays and other writings that I had. Check them out on Amazon, Kindle, Kobo, and other online sites. Please support this page by buying these books. So we have the Canadian version of the To Be Auditor and the American version of First Amendment Auditor.